Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 2 of Season 3 NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Auto Club 400 here at California Speedway as we are getting set for 30 laps of racing here at this big 2-mile racetrack. Now, before we get started, let's take a look and see how the points look coming into the race today after a very successful Daytona Speedweek on Thanksgiving week, which was the reason why we didn't have any races last week because of, well, many reasons. But we are back, and let's take a look at the points. So Joshua Sekuli is your points leader. Second is Pichu London. Third, Dylan Poteet. Fourth, Jessica Shelton. Fifth, Zach Flickinger. Sixth, Dylan Thoreau. Seventh, Phil Parker. Eighth, Chris Dollarton. Ninth, Trent Dunham. 10th, Dougie Shears. So that is how the top 10 of the points looks coming in today. Now, a couple of those guys that are up there, that are go or go homers, did not make it in the race today. So the points are going to be shaken up quite a good bit after today's race. But let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row is Trent Dunham and Mark Lane. In the top 10, Pichu London is on the pole for today. Starting next to him is James Qualls. Row 2 will comprise of Chris Dollarton and Sean Galligan. Row 3, Raphael LeDuc and DJ Curtis. Row 4, Anthony McCurry, Austin LaPlante. And then row 5, Tim Fiegel and Phil Parker. With that said, let's go ahead and get the command to fire engines for the Auto Club 400 at California Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As all the cars are coming out of the pits to take their one pace lap around the racetrack. And we see some brand new paint schemes that haven't been used before or just created for this season. Pichu London driving the Snap-On paint scheme this week. And I see Sean Galligan driving a Best Buy Ford. Raphael LeDuc in the 99 running a brand new Subway paint scheme, replacing the old paint scheme from the past. So a brand new Subway car for the 99 of Raphael LeDuc. Trying to look around for more. There's one. Preston Plore driving a Need for Speed Dodge Dart this week. So that's an interesting paint scheme right there. We'll see if the Need for Speed kicks in for him today, and hopefully he can win this race, or at the very least get a good finish. I see the number 4, Zach Flickinger, running the Haas Automation car that most members of Stewart Haas Racing will be running this season at least a few times. In the Stanley Tools car, we got Dylan Poteet in a brand new car. Oh, and the Mountain Dew Baja Blast for James McLeod in tribute to his good friend Dylan Poteet, who's also his teammate. But the pace car is in pit road, which means it's time to boogity, 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 go racing. Pichu London leads lap number 1 here at California. And oh, I hear some scrapings. Oh, we got a crash. Multi-car incident. This involves Phil Parker and Jake Rogers, who actually made it into the race. Ashland Boyd, and then looked like Seth Cole got a piece of it, but he's doing okay. It doesn't sound like he's off the pace or anything. But it's a race back to the line, and it looks like it's going to be a drag race between Pichu and McCreary, and Pichu leads at the line. And from what I saw, it looked like they were 5 wide back there, which was not a good idea. So Pichu London leads under caution. The pole sitter still leading the race, but we had our first caution come out on lap 2. So let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the first time today here at California. So here was the 5 wide issue back here, and actually 3 out of those 5 were Young Motorsports cars, and what looks like is going to happen, it just looked like Ashland Boyd was just the meat and the sandwich in between Phil Parker and Angel Alvera, and they both go spinning, and then also the 10 spins, and then Seth Cole was just trapped and had nowhere to go, but I don't think he really hit anyone hard. I don't know, we'll have to check on the view of Seth Cole, but it did look like Jake Rogers did hit the outside wall a little harder than the other drivers and actually went up in the air for a second. Actually, let's watch the 87. Yeah, right there, up on 2 wheels up against the outside safer barrier. As I am still trying to figure out if Seth Cole hit anybody. He's just up against the outside wall trying to slow down. Just a little bit of contact into the 12 of Phil Parker, but nothing major. I think most of the guys in that wreck will be able to continue. Jake Rogers is going to be a bit questionable because he did hit that outside wall pretty hard. Driver's side first. So we'll find out. Let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at California. Well, after that first caution, no cars are out of the race, so all 42 cars that started are still on track, which is good. So everybody will be single file, which should help to prevent that kind of a wreck from happening again, at least for a little while longer. But anyways, Pichu London is still your leader. Second is Anthony McCreary. Third is Andrew Rich. Fourth is Chris Dollerton. Fifth, Tim Fiegel. 6th is James Qualls, 7th Chris Michaels, 8th is Dylan Jacobs, 9th is Matt Haas, 10th Joshua Sekuli. Man, 3 of those Furniture Row cars right there, right close to each other. Anyways, 11th is Sean Galligan, 12th is DJ Curtis, 13th Charles Sanford, 14th Dorian Facepuncher, 15th Rafael Leduc, 16th is Dylan Young, 17th Preston Plord, 18th Austin LaPlante, 19th JT Bryant, 20th is Benjamin Miles. Excuse me. 21st is Kyle Matthews, 22nd David Rivera, 23rd is Paul Minnick, 24th is Dylan Poteet, 25th Dylan Thoreau, 26th Jay Jefferson, 27th Jonathan Zorline, 28th James McLeod, 29th Jessica Shelton, 30th Charles Jackson, 31st is Joshua Collard, 32nd Emmanuel Hartnett, 33rd Carson Gum, 34th Johnny Gardner, 35th Zach Flickinger. Then the rest of the field is Matt McIntyre, Trent Dunham, Mark Lane, Seth Cole, Ashland Boyd, Phil Parker, and Jake Rogers. Green flag back out with 24 laps to go. Still a long way to go in this race. Meanwhile, we got a battle for second. Andrew Rich with a move on the inside of Anthony McCreary. Now, during the early stages of the race, the low line is the preferred line in 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, though, it does seem to be the high line that prospers the most, as we're going to see if that is the case or not. And McCreary still hanging in strong, but he doesn't have the position, at least for now, and now he may end up getting cleared by the time we come off of turn 2, as Andrew Rich is coming underneath Pichu London for the race lead as well. So we got a battle for the lead here between the 56 and the 21. And now McCreary, is he going to try and go 3 wide? He is trying to make a 3 wide move for the lead. But meanwhile, it looks like it's going to be Andrew Rich who's going to lead this lap, so that's an extra bonus point for the 56s. Here comes 2 Furniture Row Racing teammates. Matt Haas in the 77 and Dylan Jacobs in the 78. Dylan Jacobs, formerly known as Nelson Thornhill, was so close to the championship last season. He's looking to come back and try and win it this season. Right now he's stuck in the middle of 3 wide, as McCreary has the lead, but Matt Haas will not be denied, as here he comes on the bottom. Who's going to lead at the line? McCreary does, barely though. Imagine if that would have been the finish. That would have been incredible. But yeah, Jake Rogers is officially off the pace. Same with Ashland Boyd. He may still be a bit up to speed. He's just losing spots. Same with the 12. But the 86 is, or not the 86, the 87 is the one who's definitely off the pace. And now Matt Haas has officially taken the lead over. But here comes Chris Michaels, who, just like Dylan Jacobs last season, was a championship contender and came very, very close. Man, look at that margin between the 78 and the 17 right there at the line. As things are getting dicey, and here comes another Furniture Row Racing teammate, Joshua Sekuli, the Daytona 500 winner, trying to go for 2 in a row to kick off Season 3. And now he's going to have a run underneath the 17, and here comes home track boy himself, Charles Sanford, who has won here in the past in the Walmart Cup Series, but he wants to get his first win of the season here at his home state, one of 2 home state tracks, the other one being Sonoma, which we will go to later in the season. As old Galligan's up into the wall, I guess he had to give a lot of room and just got himself up into the wall. But he recovers, but he's slow, holding up a few drivers. Rafael LeDuc right now being one of them that's getting held up for the time being, but now Galligan seems to be back up to speed. As meanwhile, Furniture Row Racing is dominating this race 1, 2, and 3 with Haas in the lead, Jacobs in second, and Sekuli in third. The only Furniture Row cars not up here are Jake Baskinger, who's off the pace, and then James Shelley, who did not make the race. Excuse me. As meanwhile, Tim Fiegel up here in fourth, trying to break up the Furniture Row party up here. He's going to have to work very hard to get around these guys because they are all seemingly working together to try to keep the top 3 for themselves. And meanwhile, Charles Sanford is waiting to see if these guys are going to race each other, and they are. 2 battles for the lead. You got Jacobs trying to get underneath Haas, and Tim Fiegel trying to get clear of the 79 of Sekuli, but not quite there yet. They're still side by side. And then meanwhile, Sanford is under attack from not only Andrew Rich, but the defending series champion David Rivera. And Fiegel does clear the 79 of Sekuli for third. Meanwhile, Dylan Jacobs lost a little bit of ground to the 77 for trying to go for that move. Now the 79 of Sekuli trying to go for a run for himself, but now Fiegel to the inside of the 78 for second. Can he clear him off of 2? And he does. So now Tim Fiegel, who missed the Daytona 500, is trying to come back here in race number 2 with a vengeance and try and win this race. But now we are approaching the halfway point. Once we cross the line, we'll be halfway through this race. And you gotta wonder about pit stops. If this race remains green the rest of the way, when will these drivers have to come into pit road? Whoa, Rivera took that corner really high, and now he's going to pay the price and lose a ton of spots. Not sure if he overdrove the corner or the fact he took it too high cost him a lot of spots. I don't know, but interesting development with the 6 is meanwhile it's still Furniture Row, at least top 2 for the time being. And as I see Dorian Facepuncher, quite a few drivers coming in the pit road now. Trying to see who they are. I see Jake Rogers is already in the pits. Trying to go back around. Quite a lot of drivers are on pit road, and I saw Dorian Facepuncher come in. Phil Parker is in. Ashlyn Boyd is in. James McLeod, Emmanuel Hartnett, JT Bryant, Trent Dunham, Charles Jackson, James Qualls, Matt McIntyre, Sean Galligan, Seth Cole, Preston Plord, Johnny Gardner, Jonathan Zorline, Zach Flickinger on the pits. And now the leaders are coming in, except for Tim Fiegel. He's going to stay out. Trying to look around. Oh, and I see some contact. Joshua Collard with a huge buckle on his hood. He must have run into the back of Jessica Shelton as they were slowing down. So now Collard may end up out of the race. Let's see. And he is out. Unfortunate for that 43. I guess he didn't get slowed up in time and ran right into the back of Jessica Shelton. And there's Tim Fiegel, who's now entering the pits, but it looked like the 41 of Mark Lane, yeah, he's going to stay out another lap, and now he's your leader for the time being. So it does look like the 41 of Mark Lane is the last one to come the pit road to top off on fuel. But I do believe now everybody should be good to go on gas for the rest of the race. If not, then this race will get quite interesting in the end. Fiegel's finishing up his stop, and now the 41 entering the pits for his pit stop. As we're going to keep an eye on the 41 to see how he's going to come out on track in the vicinity of everyone else. And he looks like he's going, at least so far, with 2 tires. Is he going to go for 4, or is he going to go for 2 in gas? 2 tires in gas. So short pit stop for the 41. So now the question is, who will cycle around as your leader? And from the looks of it, we're going to have a battle. Matt Haas trying to get back underneath of the 8 of Tim Fiegel. And it looks like they're going to cycle around, as the 41's going to end up losing the lead and lose a lot more spots, as now Matt Haas retakes his spot up at the front of the field. As meanwhile, a battle for second between Dylan Jacobs and Tim Fiegel. And now Dylan Poteet, who we haven't talked about all races up here, and his teammate and best friend, arguably, James McLeod, is up here too. So both of the Tweenix cars that made the race are now all of a sudden up here in the top 5. So we got Furniture Row, Tweenix, and Sega Motorsports fighting in the top 5. But then you got Gibbs with Emmanuel Hartnett, who was in the 30s at the start of the restart, and now he's up here in the mix for the win, potentially. Dorian Facepuncher sort of sneaking back there in the 7th spot, with Sakuli up here as well, and David Rivera going to keep an eye on this and hope they get racy and he can maybe capitalize. Right now it's Furniture Row City right now with the top 2. Matt Haas, Dylan Jacobs. The only one that's up here and running that isn't up here is Sakuli, but now Sakuli going for a huge move to go by the 62 and a huge run, and now he's up here in the battle for the lead with everyone else. And speaking of the lead, we're going to have a teammates fight. Dylan Jacobs with a run to the inside of Matt Haas. Can he clear him off of 4? Not quite. It looks like he will now. Yes, he is clear of the 77. So now Dylan Jacobs leads for the first time today. Dylan Jacobs, who won 4 races last season, trying to go for win number 1 this season, but now it's 3 wide. Hartnett, McLeod, and Jacobs. And now Fiegel is going to stick his nose into the mix as well. Maybe it'll be 4 wide for the lead, and it is. But it settles out to 3 wide, and then Furniture Row 3 wide for 4th. And Sakuli back up here in the mix. And it was Hartnett who led that lap. And now Tim Fiegel is going to try and get clear, but here comes Sekuli, the Daytona 500 winner. He's trying to work his way up to the front. Oh, but they got Sean Galligan up ahead. I don't know if they're going to catch him in time to really make any big difference in the field. It depends. I mean, we're coming to 6 to go here in this race. Still plenty of time for something to happen. David Rivera has entered the fray. Dorian Facepuncher slowly sneaking his way in there. So it's a big gap that separates 7th or 9th back to 10th. Andrew Rich is under 2 seconds behind the race leader. So it looks like the race is going to come down to one of these guys in the top 9. As Matt Haas is back up at the front. But Sekuli is not going to give up. He is trying to make history and be the first person in Marvel Studios Cup Series history to win the first 2 races in a row. And he's got a good chance of making that happen as he's up here in the top 5 fighting for that spot. And here he comes with the run to the inside of teammate Matt Haas. But he's got Dylan Poteet, or actually no, make that James McLeod right there. Things are getting really racy up here. This is great quality racing here at California. Now Sekuli looks like he will clear the 77 off of 4. And he does clear him, but McLeod is slowly lurking in there. Same with Rivera. Rivera is up here too. But Sekuli led that lap as it's now 4 to go here at California, and things are getting really interesting up here. Dorian Facepuncher still lurking there in the 9th spot, maybe waiting for something big to happen for him to make that move. Meanwhile, we see a fight for 41st between Galligan and, or actually for 40th, I forgot Collard is out of the race after he ran into the back of Jessica Sheldon on pit road. But in Sekuli, all he's got to do is try and hold off everyone for 3 more laps to make history. But David Rivera is not going to give up, and here he comes underneath McLeod and Sekuli. Man, this race is getting really intense up here. But Sekuli with that run on the high side manages to clear everyone, but Rivera's still lurking, and you got Emmanuel Hartnett right behind him trying to make something happen as well. Poteet trying to get up there for himself, as it's 2 to go here at California. Meanwhile, 3 wide for 2nd, and whoa, McLeod and Rivera took that corner really high. That just might have cost him the spot. But now Hartnett has the run on the inside. Will he clear the 79? He does! New leader, Emmanuel Hartnett in the 20, who won I think he won either Phoenix or Kansas last season in the closing stages of the season. Trying to go for win number 2 of his career. White flag is out. Poteet and Haas are hoping that they can get a big run. Can they make something happen? Or is the 20 going to mirror drive and make it work? Right now, Hartnett still has that spot as we're switching to camera 2 for this. As things are getting really interesting. Matt Haas has one final chance. But I don't know if he's going to be able to get to him in time, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Coming off of turn number 4 for the final time. Checkered flag is waving. Emmanuel Hartnett wins the Auto Club 400 at California Speedway. Great racing at the end of that race. That was amazing. The top 9 put on a fantastic show for the fans today. Holy cow. Congrats to the 20 of Emmanuel Hartnett, a big confidence booster heading into next week, which we'll go into here in just a moment. But let's look at the rest of the results. Matt Haas, who was one of the dominant cars of the race, comes through to finish 2nd today. Great run for the 77. Joshua Sekuli tried to make history, but still gets a great points run in 3rd, so he's going to most likely keep the points lead going into next week. Dorian Facepuncher with a great run in the 4th position, so solid run for him. Dylan Jacobs in 5th, who had a good run today. So all 3 of the Furniture Row cars who ran solid all day finished in the top 5. So great job on the part of those guys. Tim Fiegel with a great run in the 6th position. Dylan Poteet with a solid 7th, and his teammate James McLeod comes through in 8th. David Rivera comes through with a solid 9th, and Benjamin Miles with a great run in the 10th position. Rest of the top 20 was Paul Minnick, James Qualls, Preston Plord, Jonathan Zorling, Trent Dunham, Jay Jefferson, Andrew Rich, DJ Curtis, Matt McIntyre, Charles Sanford. Rest of the top 30 was Mark Lane, Anthony McCrory, Chris Michaels, Seth Cole, Zach Flickinger, Johnny Gardner, Kyle Matthews, Dylan Thoreau, JT Bryant, Jessica Shelton. Rest of the top 40 was Charles Jackson, Austin LaPlante, Carson Gum, Chris Dollarton, Pichu London, Dylan Young, Rafael LeDuc, Phil Parker, Ashland Boyd, Sean Galligan, and then Jake Rogers, and only one car retired out of the race, and that was Joshua Collard for a miscue on pit road under that last green flag pit stop. But thank you guys for watching. Next week, we head to a brand new racetrack, Hillside Speedway, which is going to be an interesting race for everyone to see how it's going to go. Will it be a good race? Will it be bad? We'll find out next week. But until then, here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into Hillside. And this is Levi McIntyre signing off.